Welcome back.
I don't know where
I'm trying to like dramatically
move around.
scoot back. So it's not just my big potato face in the screen. Guys, hello. It's been
hello. I don't know where to sit. This is so uncomfortable.
We got new cameras, guys, so that's why we're trying to figure out where.
Bear with us.
Hey friends. Are we still behind the scenes?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yes.
Do you know what I wanted to ask about today? And this may be my PE hat coming on. Can we talk about how everyone and their mother is so excited about Lyft being profitable, only through adjusted EBITDA? Can we talk about
Then that's not profitable.
Everyone and their mother has been raving about this earnings call. And I'm like, and everyone's calling it, first of all, they're calling it adjusted earnings, which is misleading in itself.
It feels wrong.
Earnings before a bunch of other stuff. And they don't put comp in there either, which is a big part of why it's adjusted, which was like a whole extra few $100 million. And of course, it's also EBITDAC. So they have their little COVID metrics that also somehow get disqualified, the C on the end of it now. When did this become a thing? When did that become some sort of like accomplishment that your adjusted EBITDA was positive? What is that?
If a startup came to you with those financials, you would say that they were dishonest, right?
That's entirely what it is. I feel like that's like
150%.
When you're a young iBanker and you're trying to make the pitch book look really good, that's what you do. That's not what you do, when you're Lyft.
Yeah. So Peloton had their report the other day, and they didn't tell me when the new treadmill is coming out. I'm waiting on that. Nothing.
Safety first, Candace. Be patient. Safety first.
Treadmills, unfortunately, have been dangerous since treadmills came out, right? Mm-hmm. Treadmills fell out of style, very much like watches did, right? And so we didn't have treadmills and we didn't have watches.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, two companies come out with both, right? Watches aren't going to hurt you, but treadmills do. And I'm not quite certain why common sense doesn't come into play. 5,300 kids a year or people a year get injured on treadmills.
I didn't know that.
So one person, and unfortunately, it's a sad story, right? Super sad story. And there are multiple kids who got burned. Now, should kids be in the videos and pictures of them selling treadmills and bikes? No. Mm-mm. That was wrong. But that shouldn't keep everybody from getting a treadmill. I need it. Sorry, earnings report.
You really would like your tread. I got it.
Or plus, I'm willing to pay for the tread or the tread plus. I've checked eBay.
Not eBay, Candace. I think here's the issue. I think the reason why they had to have such a dramatic recall, right? It wasn't technically a recall, but essentially it was a withdrawal.
It was a withdrawal.
Is because they had one or two instances previously where they were warned about this and chose not to act or comment on it. So I think the drama behind this is almost like their quasi-public apology tour, right? To substitute for the fact that they didn't behave appropriately when it was first brought to their attention.
Yeah, on the earnings call, they were supposed to bring it up and they didn't. That was on July 20th. I waited for it and nothing. It was due out at the end of last month. So now nothing. And now the rumor is it's coming out at the top of next year. So.
Oh, they're not even going to make the Christmas push? Oh, they must be having like real manufacturing problems.
They have to be having real manufacturing problems because if you're not going to have it out before Christmas and before January, which is when everybody's going to want it again, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Which is why it should be on the earnings call, right? Because it impacts earnings.
Yeah,
it's definitely going to impact earnings, and lots of people are saying, "Don't buy it now. Don't buy the stock." Not just the.
Candace is not saying that. Lots of other people are saying.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I said some people, not Candace. I don't give financial advice. I don't give financial advice.
Not at all. But speaking of not financial advice, let's give a little pitch advice. Let's get the show going.
Let's go.
We're a company and a venture capital firm that invests in companies run by women and minorities, particularly when they're away from the coast. Very, very focused on the Midwest. You are watching live the first pitch competition on Twitch, where you, the viewer, have an opportunity to vote for companies that you like best.
So every episode, we have 3 judges, plus you, the audience. You also get to judge each pitch. After each presentation, you'll see a cute little box pop up with a Twitter link for you to vote for if you would invest in the company yourselves.
During round 1, we watched as the startups presented their pitch deck in 5 minutes or less. Then the judges began their Q&A. After we selected viewer-submitted questions for the founders to answer, in the end, the audience and judges had the opportunity to vote in the poll below for the company they like best.
Candace, do you mind if we start?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Wow, that was scary. That was very alarming.
What was that?
You all right, Candace?
Look, what? Why? Because you heard that sound?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, DoorDash has arrived, and it's dinner time. This is an ill-timed show.
Love that. Love that. But we're excited to provide the show to you all again. We are back for season 7 of Candace's favorite mealtime interruption, Twitch Pitch, the very first pitch competition, live here on Twitch, brought to you by your very favorite venture capitalists here at Lightship. So for those of you who are new, hello. What happens is every season we see 12 companies go head to head and compete for a grand prize of $25,000. A grant, no strings attached. What you're going to see are 5-minute pitch videos presented by 3 companies in each episode. Feel free to throw any comments or questions that you have down in the comment box below. We'll ask your questions live here on air. And then at the end, you get to vote for your favorite companies. Ask yourself, would you invest in the company if you were in our shoes? We're so excited to bring you 3 new companies today, but we couldn't do it without our incredible sponsors. Thank you to JPMorgan Chase. They're one of the oldest financial institutions in the U.S. that serves corporations in over 100 companies and countries. UPS is one of the largest and most trusted global shipping and logistics providers to companies worldwide. And the Ohio Third Frontier, OTF, works with innovative startup companies across the state of Ohio, making Ohio the destination for tech entrepreneurs. And in addition to that, we are also brought to you by the lovely Lightship Foundation, that's us, hello, which is created and executive directed by Ms. Candace Matthews-Brad-Keen. She's our executive director at the foundation, an expert in all things CPG and e-commerce. To the other side of me, we have the lovely Brian Brad-Keen, who's our EIR and lead facilitator for our boot camps and all things AI machine learning. I'm Lexi. I love the health tech stuff, and I get to sit here with you all on Twitch Pitch every Tuesday and Thursday night. So we're very excited. As a reminder, folks, throw any of your comments and questions in your comment box, regardless if you're watching us on Twitch or on YouTube or wherever you're watching us, LinkedIn Live, and we'll make sure to get those answered for you tonight here in real time. We love to see interaction from the audience. So we're going to meet 3 fantastic companies tonight. Let's start with our first company. Let's meet Nolla Pelli.
I'm Allison Howard, founder and CEO of Nolla Pelli, and we make bedding that's better for you. Now, you know it and I know it. That feeling of waking up after a great night's sleep, you feel incredible, like you could take on the world. And that's because when we sleep well, our bodies and our minds are restored. The sad news is 1/3 of us are not getting the sleep our bodies deserve. And I'm talking quantity and quality of sleep. And everything suffers because of it. Our physical health, our mental health, our job performance, our immune system, the list goes on. And that's because sleep is the foundation of overall health and wellness. Now, I was one of these people. I was tired of waking up not looking or feeling refreshed, and I wanted to dig in and learn more about what happens during this critical 1/3 of our day we spend asleep. And because my background is in engineering, I was thinking about the system that includes both your body and your bedding to understand what's happening on both sides of that equation. What I learned is that there is an important connection that's often overlooked that impacts how we look, how we feel, and how we sleep. And it's because of these three factors. During sleep, your body gives off moisture. This moisture gets trapped in your sheets, and the temperature fluctuates as this moisture starts to evaporate. This moisture also causes the friction to increase between your bedding and your skin and hair, causing damage. Now, after learning this, studying the bedding market, and speaking with 200 consumers, I realized there's an opportunity to engineer a new fabric that meets all of our expectations around bedding, but also works with our bodies while we sleep. And that's how Nolla Pelli was born. I've created a patent-pending fabric that balances moisture, temperature, and friction so you can stay cool, cozy, comfortable, and most importantly, asleep. Now, Nolla Pelli is the Finnish word for love. And because the Latin word for skin is pellis, it felt like the perfect name for what I was building because of this play on love your skin. Because in full disclosure, I didn't start out trying to impact sleep. I was most frustrated about those lines on my face from my cotton pillowcase and not wanting to do any damage to my skin while I slept. But once we started making our fabric and getting it onto people's beds, so much of that feedback was talking about the great night's sleep people were having. And it was this exciting realization that when you start out solving for skin, you can actually impact your body's ability to truly restore during sleep. And when you sleep better, everything is better. Now, bedding is an $8 billion industry, but there hasn't been any innovation in forever. There are literally hundreds of suppliers all selling the same stuff, and Nolla Pelli fills this gap in innovation. As a founder with a background in engineering and materials science, I'm surrounding myself on the team with folks who understand marketing and high-end hospitality because that's an important sales channel for us. To date, we've sold over $130,000 of our linens across direct-to-consumer, hotel and spa, and retail, where we've just scratched the surface. Now, those hotel and spa margins may not look so exciting, but not only do they bring volume and predictability into our supply chain, by partnering with the right properties, we can really build credibility for our brand and do some very exciting co-marketing at no additional cost. We've been a bootstrapped business to this point, and we're growing right now at $10,000 a month. And we believe with a small infusion of capital, we can quickly accelerate that to sell $100,000 a month. And what we need to help us get there is $500,000 worth of seed funding. We'll invest this money in marketing and R&D, in our team, and in our product. So that we can bring more visitors to our website, convert them into customers, and also partner with more hotels, spas, and retailers. It's in this combination that we'll be able to meet our revenue targets in the months and years ahead. So in a nutshell, Nolla Pelli brings long overdue innovation into the $8 billion bedding industry with the patent pending fabric. Our customers are raving about our ability to help them sleep, and hotels and spas are an exciting way to grow our brand and our sales. Our sales are currently growing at 75% month over month, and now's the perfect time to infuse capital to help us grow faster. Again, I'm Allison Howard, founder and CEO of Nolla Pelli. It's time for you to break up with your bed sheets, switch to our Better For You bedding, and start getting more out of that 1/3 of your day you spend asleep. Thank you.
All right, welcome to the show.
Hi guys, how are you?
It's great to see you all.
Good to see you
to see you,
too.
Allison. So can you tell us all, how are you teaching your consumers that they need this product, that they're sweating every night, that they're hot, and that the friction is just not good for a good night's sleep?
Yeah, that's a great question, Candace. As you know, the bedding industry is very crowded and there's lots of advertisements and frankly, lots of companies all saying the same thing. So we've been experimenting with that. I mean, we're newer to the direct to consumer business. You know, our original strategy was to focus on hotels and spas, which really fell apart when COVID hit.
It sure did.
So we just pivoted like so many people did and focused on direct to consumer. We certainly find that cooling message really resonates, right? So I think people, they know that they sleep hot. They don't really understand that connection between sleeping hot and cotton and any then ancillary beauty implications from that. But we're leaning into that cooling message and then now trying to pull them into a landing page that is going to explain more about, kind of the temperature, the moisture, the friction, and all of the things that sort of flow from there.
Okay, yeah. And so, and I will say this to the audience. So we do know each other from a boot camp that you came to. I became a Nolla Pelli customer. I can say I am due for another set of sheets because I can tell the nights that I don't have my sheets. I get a little, it just depends on, women's hormone levels change throughout the month. And so certain nights I'm hotter than others. And so I know those nights when my hair is curly under here when I wake up because I've been sweating all night and it's rough in those sheets. So if I don't have yours, then it's a bad night's sleep. And so I believe in your product.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we need those video testimonials that we can throw into some ads and really show people. And that's really why, after focusing on D2C for a good 9 months now and starting to learn what works and starting to really just understand how to do that, that's why now is really the perfect time for us to start to raise some capital because we've got the metrics, we've got some traction, we're seeing what's working. And now in D2C, as you know, it takes a lot of marketing, especially in a crowded space like bedding.
Yeah, thank you.
Brian?
One, good to see you. I love a good bootstrap founder. It builds, it's harder, it's painful even, but it also iterates the business so much faster, right? Because it's like, either this idea works or that's it. This idea works or that's it, right?
Right.
It brings conviction to each decision. So I have a question for you about moving from bootstrap to growth, right? So you're gonna do this round. I'm sure it's gonna be oversubscribed, right? And then you're gonna have this challenge of, okay, now what do I do, right? I mean, you have a plan, but how do you kind of move mentally from that, feeling of scarcity to that feeling of like abundance and I can make investments on growing the business?
So I hope to be in that position, Brian. That's awesome. And I hope when I'm in that position to be surrounded by investors that can help me navigate that change, because you're absolutely right. It is going to be a mindset shift to go from just dripping dollars here and there and a little bit here. Let's try that. And then you never quite know if you just pulled out too early, if you would have just kept going a little longer, if maybe that would have worked. So certainly all of those questions exist, but there are some things that we know for sure. One of the things that we know for sure is that third-party validation is incredibly valuable. We got into the affiliate game at the end of last year, and that is far and away our most successful sales channel. So anytime we get a mention about Nolla Pelli with an affiliate link, and that mention always, just describes something about our technology and why we're different, those tend to convert quickly and at full price, which is awesome. And so we know we need to do more of that. And so for us, that screams PR, right? We've never worked with a PR agency before, but we only have just a small affiliate partner who's helping us to get those kinds of placements. But when we get them, again, sales just jump and people buy quickly and at full price. And so we're like, okay, that's definitely working. We definitely need to do more of that.
Thank you.
Great. So everyone watching, if you have any questions for Allison, throw them in your comment box below and I will get those answered for you in just a second. So more specifically about a couple of folks, how are you feeling about your competitors right now? I mean, what is it? Wicked Sheets, Jack Sheets. I feel like there's a couple of people popping up in cooling specifically. How are you differentiating yourself from those newer contenders?
Yeah. So again, we know cooling, consumers are connected to cooling. And even if you're 100% cotton, you tell people that you're cooler, right? And that they're more breathable. There may not be any substantiation behind that, but you do that. I mean, and, as you guys know, I came into this very much from a skin science perspective. And my first advisor is a former Estee Lauder researcher, because I wanted to understand that interaction between your skin and fabric, really the skin on your face. And so it's been a really kind of happy accident to see that solving for skin ends up also solving for sleep. But I think that that's a real differentiator for Nolla Pelli, that focus on skin. And helping people to understand that connection between their body and their fabric, much in the way that they've figured it out during the waking hours of their day, right? I mean, look at Under Armour. I mean, I'm sure none of us would dream of working out in a cotton t-shirt anymore, because we've learned that, in that scenario, cotton is not the right answer. So it's really just extending that idea of textile technology to the 1/3 of our day that we spend asleep. And then if I can say one more thing, I mean, the big vision for Nolla Pelli is to continue leveraging textile technology across sleep, beauty, and wellness. So not just stopping with bedding. For us, that's just the beginning, but really looking at all different ways that we can take better care of ourselves during that 1/3 of our day we spend asleep.
Got it. Thank you so much. I don't see any extra questions for you in the comment box below. So what we're going to do now is, folks, now is your magical time. If you would like to vote for Nolla Pelli to win the competition, you're going to text the number 1 to 203-408-6432. Once again, text the number 1 to 203-408-6432. And as a reminder, don't put that in the comments. Text the number to the phone number on the screen directly. It's the only way your vote will count. Thank you so much. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, speed round. Candace, give me your thoughts.
Oh, are we doing that? Sorry.
Okay, or not. Brian, do you have anything you'd like to say quickly while Candace munches?
Strong founder, very strong pitch. I think she's going to do well in her fundraise. And I think she can differentiate herself simply by her own knowledge of the industry, her own knowledge of the problem as a chemist.
100%. No, I'm going to agree with that. Like, her talking through textile technology across sleep, beauty, and wellness, like, that was great information. Leaning into the fact that, her background's in material science, because other people are just fabricating fabric. Like, they're just making fabric and not thinking about the reason why. And we just really think about, going to sleep and staying asleep, and not what's actually happening in those moments while you're sleeping. So no one owns that space. I found that interesting.
Very cool. Well, Candace, let's keep eating, keep your hunger quenched as we meet the New Breed team.
Sorry about that.
Hi, my name is Janice, and I am founder and CEO of MisTee Wants to Know Incorporated, where we use technology to inform stylists.
Hi, my name is Samantha Edwards, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of New Breed Meats. I've been plant-based for over 20 years and have traveled the globe doing health seminars. And in doing so, I witnessed firsthand what a Harvard study showed, that 1/3 of the population die prematurely each year due to a largely meat diet. In addition, plant-based doesn't always equal healthy. And more importantly to the consumer, plant-based meats just don't always taste good. Introducing New Breed Meats, where we're ushering in a new breed of protein that is made from a novel protein blend, is more nutritious, and is absolutely delicious. The total plant-based meat market is a massive one. It is currently sized at $5 billion. However, this number is set to balloon to $85 billion by 2030. We see this as a massive opportunity amongst our two target market groups, which are African Americans, the fastest growing plant-based demographic in the US, as well as flexitarians, the largest consumers of plant-based foods. These two groups combined make up over 40% of the population. Our tier launch approach to our go-to-market strategy has us initially focused in the Atlanta, Brooklyn, and LA markets. This will be quickly followed by an aggressive nationwide push. Our sustainable business model includes mixed channels where we'll have strong margins in food service and retail. These margins are reflective of healthy top-line revenues of $1.3 million in year one to $82 million by year 5 once we reach national distribution. But we recognize that the protein market has no shortage of competition, and here's how we stack up. With our products containing up to 40% less ingredients and having up to 75% less saturated fat, we are poised to win. We believe that there's plenty of room for us to play and to capture market share because of our delicious taste, our unbelievable meaty texture, our unique positioning as a woman and Black-owned brand, our healthier product mix, and our genuine mission-driven messaging. But we recognize that we need a strong team that would drive this to success. Meet the New Breed team. I'm a plant-based nutritionist with a culinary background as a cookbook author. My co-founder, Rochelle, is a business and operations management specialist. Together, we share over 20 years experience as internationally traveled speakers, as well as in community health advocacy. We've also built up a strong team of advisors. Since our inception in 2018, we were able to hit several key milestones, where we were able to develop 3 products and also to secure a co-manufacturing partner. So we're ready for scale up. And in order for us to reach our next milestones, we are looking to raise $1 million, of which $250,000 has already been committed. This would allow us to expand our production, support sales and marketing, and drive nationwide distribution. We invite you to partner with us to create a more healthy, sustainable, and delicious world through New Breed Meats. Thank you.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
I think Rochelle's here too, right? You want to bring her on?
Yes. Yeah, she is here. Perfect.
Well, hello, friends.
Everyone.
All right. Well, I've got questions, but I guess my first question is, when am I going to be able to buy sausage again? This household just ran out. Hopefully sometime soon.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we have a large run coming up in a couple of weeks. So we're super excited about that. It's been a long time in the making. We were taking care of some branding things and kind of redoing our whole visual identity. So we're kind of completed that process. And so now we're ready to actually start producing the product on a much larger scale. So in a few weeks, we can get some product over to you.
Perfect. Okay, so obviously the cat's out of the bag. Like, I've met you all before. You also went through one of our boot camps. This is very strange and odd, but that's happened kind of back to back. This is the first time I've heard your full pitch, though. And so you talked a little bit about the demographics you're trying to hit, African Americans and flexitarians, which is actually what we are in our household. So, you know, obviously both African American, Brian and I. Brian's a flexitarian, I'm plant-based. How did you land on those two markets? Because it seems like it's spot on.
Yeah. So obviously Samantha and I fall into the African American demographic. And we've just been watching the plant-based world for a little while. As Samantha said, over the last decade, we've really been involved in community health advocacy. And a lot of that has taken place in predominantly Black neighborhoods at times. And so in talking with people and kind of watching where things are going, we just recognize that that's a market that's really, really booming. As well as flexitarians, we recognize, that the average person isn't necessarily maybe in a place where they're ready to fully transition, but they're willing to try things. They're willing to test the waters and see how that works. And so we wanted to provide products that were delicious, number one, but as well as they were healthy. And I think when people, in just talking to people when we've been doing seminars, at the end of the seminar, you know, people are always like, all right, so what do I eat now? Lettuce? You know, that's kind of like the running joke. And so wanting to show them that, no, it's possible to eat plant-based and to really enjoy it, to really get the flavors that you're used to, the textures and all of these things. And so our landing on that really was just through our experiences over the last few years and coming in contact with individuals.
But it's 40% of the market. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible just to see, especially in the Black community, how the numbers or the interest really in the plant-based lifestyle has shot up. I mean, there are so many different advocates now within the Black community and hip hop and other segments that's really pushing for a change. I mean, there's this whole idea with, you know, the slave man's diet and so on, and kind of shifting away from that whole ideology of how we used to eat back in the day and how it's causing all of these issues that we're currently having. And one of the things that Rochelle and I like to talk about is that, you know, COVID really kind of just opened, you know, the gates in terms of, yes, we had a pandemic, but it also revealed a hidden pandemic that has been around for so long. And that is these comorbidities. People are literally dying because they don't really understand the connection that their health, their lifestyle, and what they're eating really has on their health outcomes. And so that's really one of the main missions that we have behind New Breed Meats.
That's great. Thank you.
Excellent. Brian?
You know, for some of us, it's about health. For others of us, it's about the taste, right? And I think your product is the best tasting product in the market. And I mean that totally and sincerely. And so,
I was upset that we were out of the sausage this morning before breakfast.
Very upset.
We ate the rest of our last package the other day. Like we were like kind of like rationing
it off. Yeah.
The sausage.
Using less and less each time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
So in that vein, one of the things when I talk to other investors about your company and the opportunities, they say, oh, well, there's impossible and there's beyond. And I try to explain to them that there are more than 2 brands right now in the meat aisle, right? And there's different flavors, right? So how do you kind of get that across to people that there is room for additional people to come to the market?
Yeah, I think, and I'll start it, maybe Rochelle can kind of chime in too. You're right. I mean, there are 2 main players in this industry now, and obviously there are several that's popping up and gaining probably a little bit more prominence as well. One of the things that we would say that really kind of differentiates us is our mission and the fact that we're really trying to build a community. So we're not just in this, you know, yes, we see that this is a $5 billion market currently, and it's set to balloon to $85 billion by 2030. I mean, that's just absolutely insane numbers. But we're not really in this, you know, 100% for that reason. Obviously, there is a benefit for that. But really and truly, in our heart of hearts, this has been a lifestyle that both Rochelle and I have been living for over 20 years, and we have been teaching it and practicing this. And so this is something that is near and dear to our hearts, just personally. And I would also say that what kind of really differentiates us outside of that is our we're bringing some diversity to the supply chain. I mean, there's just a real serious lack of diversity. And then also our nutritional profile, we're up to 75 to 90% less saturated fat than all of these other competitors. So we're really kind of dialing in on the nutrition aspect as well to use that as a differentiator.
Thank you.
Excellent. So I'm going to steal one of the comments below and reword it as a question. So someone mentioned that taste and smell could win the market. Cook it in the aisle of Costco's and Sam's if it's truly the best. So my question is, how are you thinking about, if at all, a potential retail strategy? And you mentioned food services too. What does that look like for you going forward?
Definitely. So as we look at our go-to-market strategy, food service is definitely one of our primary strategies, just because that's where you have the greatest margins. And so we have been in conversations, when we talk about food service, we've been in conversations with different distributors, and we have two that are ready to really come online, servicing hospitals. We're looking at servicing universities. We're looking at really kind of driving that home. But because we do want to build a consumer brand, we also recognize there's a need to play in the retail space. And so we're also in conversations looking to get in the retail. Obviously, the margins are a little bit slimmer than that, just because of the cost of playing in that space is greater than in playing in food service. And to what the comments said, Samantha and I are looking at all roads in terms of pushing this really out there in the market. One of the things that, COVID kind of came in and shut down some plans as it relates to events. But marketing and sales are our two primary drivers as it relates to where the business is. We believe that if we can succeed with those 2 points, then we will go far. And so we are pushing a lot of money behind marketing, which will include some of those events, which will include trade shows, which will include demos, and just being where people are, because we 100% believe that once individuals taste it, just like Candace and Brian, that they'll be in it. It will be no problem for them to return and buy more. And so we definitely are pushing forward that strategy as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I think that's the only question I see, but just to note, Trey Setosenko is also a vegetarian/pescatarian. And they're excited to diversify their meal plan. So welcome to the tribe. We're really excited to have you. And so for everyone watching, if you would like to vote for New Breed Meats to win the competition, you're going to text the number 2 to 203-408-6432. Once again, text the number 2 to 203-408-6432. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, hot takes. Brian, you go first.
I'll go quick since we're doing these quickly. But yeah, the product's amazing. We've had the benefit of actually tasting it. And I just wish I could get across to people that are watching how transformationally better it is. Like it truly tastes as good or better as, like, for instance, like sausage, as good as anybody's. I think it's just a matter of getting people to know. Like, it's a marketing and manufacturing challenge, and both those things are solvable with capital.
Candace?
Yeah, I think Brian made a good point earlier that there aren't just two meat manufacturers, so we aren't just looking at an impossible and beyond world. Everybody kind of has a different take, and all of these different plant-based meat products all have a different type of prep you can do with them. So certain things make better spaghetti, certain things make better burgers. I'll tell you what, like, their sausage is my favorite, bar none. Like, I've had Gimme Lean, I've had Field Roast, I've had Morningstar, you name it, I've had it. But this is by far the best breakfast sausage that there is. And if I can get my hands on some more, I'm gonna make some, like, gravy with it. Like, it's going to be the bomb. But it is by far one of my favorite things, and there's plenty of room in the market for it. I love that they're going the food service route. But I think once they figure out, like, any sort of supply chain issues, they'll be great in store. And like that person said, you put it up against something else, like, it smells like pork sausage and it tastes like pork sausage.
Wow. What a vote of confidence from Miss Candace. Super exciting. Now let's meet our third company of the night. The team at MisTee wants to know.
To make better hair decisions. Hi, my name is Janice, and I am founder and CEO of MisTee Wants to Know Incorporated, where we use technology to inform stylists to make better hair decisions. Imagine if you had dreadlocks and you had to detangle your hair every single day. Well, that's what it felt like when I went natural, and I had to detangle my hair every single day. And the only tools that I had at my disposal were my fingers, comb, or brush. And as a result, I pulled out a great deal of hair. And when I wanted to go to the hairstylist, she too insisted you must detangle your hair. And all hairstylists that do textured hair, consumers, insist that you must detangle your hair because they too only have their fingers or a comb, and it takes them hours to detangle hair. The solution is the MisTee Pro handheld steaming tool with its oil-filled pods. It discharges an oily steam to detangle hair fast. And so as a result, I am happy because I have a tool that will detangle my hair but won't pull it out. And the salon stylist is happy because she now has a tool that will detangle hair fast. I have spoken to stylists, cosmetology schools, consumers, and all agree this is a great idea and they cannot wait to test it. And you ask, why is it that this problem has not been addressed before? Well, it hasn't been addressed before because companies like Conair and Coty historically have never cared about women with textured hair. They've only wanted to straighten it. But given the existing social situation in the world, the time is really now to launch the MisTee Pro handheld steaming tool successfully. In 5 years, we're going to be a $125 million business. And we're going to achieve that by selling our oil pods via subscription. This is a B2B2C. We will sell to stylists, stylists will sell to consumers, and stylists will make a commission. And the MisTee Pro handheld steaming tool is the only professional grade handheld steaming tool that discharges an oily steam. We're going to reach stylists by partnering with entities that have access to stylists, like Maven, which has access to over 50,000 stylists. And we will be successful because we have a capable team that includes a L'Oreal formulation chemist, a very scalable business model. We're selling our oil pods via subscription. And the hairstyling tools category is a $5 billion category. In addition to hiring the L'Oreal chemist, we have also created a test formulation that discharges an oily steam. We're going to be testing the prototypes in the fall, and we're going to be shipping March, April of 2022. We have completed a prior art search and a patentability search, and we are getting our paperwork together to file our provisional patent in July. We are asking for $1 million. We've already received $100,000. And we want to thank you so much for listening to this presentation, and we look forward to answering any questions that you have.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Well, again, I just want to thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janice. So tell me, what is the form factor? Like, what is this going to look like? Because, and I'm asking, so you know that there's some folks that are trying to start competing in this space, right? And so some of us know who that competitor is. I'm going to say I think it's Dawn from The Most, right?
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
The Most was on the show, so we can say it.
Got it.
Season 1.
Right? That's a comb, and it's got a pod, but it sounds like you've got a steamer, and this is different.
So let's first of all understand that, and I know Dawn, I think she's awesome. This is, first of all, this is discharging an oily steam, which I guess if I had taken a chemistry class, I probably wouldn't have come up with the idea, but since I didn't, as you well know, oil and water don't mix. But that is the reason why it's important that we have the formulation chemist from L'Oreal, because the actual formulation is going to be very important. That's actually the second provisional patent. The first provisional patent is the mechanism. But first of all, this is a B2B2C. So which is similar to the model that Maven has. Maven is also B2B2C. We're selling to stylists. Stylists are selling to consumers, and stylists will be making a commission.
Great.
And this is a detangling tool. Okay. And so the prongs have to be situated in such a way so that it is a detangling tool as opposed to just pulling out your hair. And because of the fact we're talking about an oily steam formulation, steam gets into the hair shaft much deeper.
Yep.
Okay, so there's a difference between steam and just heating up a formulation. Okay, the steam gets into the hair shaft much deeper, which allows for whatever else is going to be in the formulation to get into the hair shaft as well too, which will soften the hair and which will make it easier to detangle. So the model that I've come up with is not only to sell to stylists, but stylists will also be making a commission. But we also will be selling direct to consumer as well too via e-commerce. And that is going to be done via micro influencers, for example.
So I don't think enough people in the world appreciate what happened with Keurig. So that pod that was created.
Totally.
What we're doing with that is we're activating a formula with water in real time. Right?
And margins. So when you start talking about those pods, you are talking about very attractive margins.
Absolutely. And I don't think enough people have thought about the fact that you don't have to add water. You add water to it later. So you're not having to transport that. You've got fresh product, right? So suddenly you're putting something on someone's head fresher, right? You're eating that coffee and you're having it, it's not already cooked up at the same time. I love that. It's like the new, you're building a new printer cartridge over there for Black women's hair.
And I should
really
also,
cool, Janice.
Thank you. And I should also mention too, when we start talking about alternative streams of income, this delivery system of oily steam is not just for women with tangled, knotty hair, which can be someone like myself, or could be somebody with a weave that has worn their weave for too long, but it's transferable to other industries. So for example, I wouldn't be calling it a MisTee branded tool, but the actual tool itself could be white labeled for pet care, for example.
Yeah.
So understand, and I will tell you, I've been practicing because I'm going to be going out to raise this month again, and I've been practicing with men who know nothing about hair because most of the investors that I'm going to be talking to probably know absolutely nothing about hair, and the feedback has been, this actually is the technology that you're coming up with is bigger than hair. And I should mention, it's not just hardware, but there is a software piece to it too. But the hardware piece is the main piece.
Sorry, guys, I took all your questions. Who's next?
Go, Brian.
I'll go fast since Candace took all the questions. I'm struck by a comment that's in the comments because I felt the same way about the major brands being focused on straightening. When you said that, it hit me very, very strongly. I think that's a really, really great line. Keep it in all your pitches. And it speaks to both bias, right? Assuming that everyone wants to have straightened hair, right? And so what are teams at Dyson in the UK? What are they working on? Straightening hair, you know? So I think there's a sense that I want to work on this project. I want to buy this product. I want to invest in this product. I want to support this product for a sense of fairness that comes across when you make that line.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that too, because Dyson, you have Dyson, for example. We could talk about Dyson. We could talk about other hair styling tools products. They now, I would say, within the last 12 months or so, have realized that if they're going to grow their marketplace, start targeting women, ethnic women, or women with textured hair. And so I went to a Dyson function in 2019 August, and there were a number of African American stylists there. So I just kind of asked them. So it's like, so when exactly were you hired? They were hired that year. And so what's happening with the large companies now is they're realizing that this is a marketplace. They're trying to figure out how to get into it. And so, yes, this is going to potentially get even larger. I mean, I can see it in Target, for example. I mean, it's amazing to me, and I have a packaged goods brand management background. It's amazing to me that I see products for textured hair on an end cap almost every single time I go. That is amazing to me. What is also amazing to me is that I see the textured hair section is almost bigger than the regular hair section. That blows my mind. So this is only going to get larger. And I should also mention that it's not just women of color, for example. You have white women. I mean, the 63% of the women in this country that have curly or textured hair, that includes multiracial women, and that also includes white women, because you have, white women who have very curly hair as well, too, who have been straightening their hair for years. And now, because of Diva Curl, for example, now they have a stylist that actually knows how to handle their curly hair.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. So a couple of quick housekeeping things. Yes, you can vote for more than one company per episode. Whatever companies you really like, throw them a vote. And Trey Setosenko wants to know, would you be comfortable sharing how people can reach you? They think there's a strong partnership opportunity. You can say yes or you can say no. It's up to you.
I'm open to having conversations without a doubt. So how do I do that? Do I give her my email address or
LinkedIn, or find you on LinkedIn?
Cool. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Janice Williams Oliver on LinkedIn. Would love it.
Excellent. And I will also steal their other note as my question. When you think about the broader use, your market is huge. What do you think the market would be for you if you really think about some of these secondary and tertiary uses of the technology?
So I'm going to say this. We just had, because of the feedback, we just had a conversation with a Stanford. She's had 2 or 3 degrees from Stanford, and to really sort of talk about, other markets. There's some confidentiality to this. Other markets that we could transfer into that fall into pharmaceutical. And so this could be $1 billion opportunity, quite frankly.
Excellent. Yeah. Please don't feel pressure to reveal anything proprietary, confidential by any means. This is a live TV show. Thank you so much. So for any of you that would like to vote for Janice's MisTee Wants to Know, you're going to text the number 3 to 203-408-6432. Once again, to vote for MisTee Wants to Know, text the number 3 to 203-408-6432. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, Brian, what are your thoughts?
I love it. I mean, I'm going to keep it short because time is short, but she has all of the answers for this stage. She's right where she needs to be, if not further. It's very compelling. Use case compelling. She's compelling. Looks good to me.
Great. Candace?
Yeah, as we know, I say this all the time, hardware is difficult, right? So we haven't gotten out of that, we haven't gotten into true beta testing with lots and lots of users. But I will say this is a wide open space. There are no hair tools that are found in a standard big box retailer for Black women's hair, for textured hair. You go down the aisle and it is absolutely what she said. It's for straightening hair and for standard detangling. And so until all hair is represented in the aisle is wide open. So if she can accomplish this kind of hardware build, it's there for the taking.
And if I can just go back again, the difference between maybe venture investors and angel investors is stage at the seed, right? Pre-seed versus seed oftentimes. Taking an early bet on hardware before you can see the thing and you see it in lots of people's hands is, for me, more of an angel bet. But if I were to place an angel bet, this is really kind of market founder thinking differently, right? That I would be interested in placing those kinds of bets on.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited about the some of the thermodynamics that happen to make this behind the scenes when I really sit down and think about what it takes to make an oily steam work with multiple different oil densities. It's kind of a big deal. So I'm excited to see how it works out in real life. That was great. So how was the first episode, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us again. This has been episode 1 of season 7 of your very favorite show, Twitch Pitch. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us. Now stay tuned on Thursday. We're going to do it all again, 7 p.m. Eastern time on whatever platform you're watching us on now. So you can come back to Twitch, you can come back to LinkedIn, you can come back to Twitter, whatever. 7 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to do it all again with 3 more companies. I can't wait for you to meet them. It's going to be so exciting. So thank you so much. We're really excited to see you on Thursday. But until then, good night.
Good night.